She's near to death. A few more strikes will finish her off.
Fable was developed by British studio Lionhead Studios and was released in 2004, the year I left school, and I remember it very fondly as this was a game that had a absolute insane amount of hype around for its release. Obviously claiming of being the first game ever to the more hits you take, the more scars your character takes as the game progresses on in time. Your character will get grey and get older. Your actions will directly influence what happens to your character in terms of being good or bad, and with other people. Are you going to be a total douche nozzle, or are you going to be a complete goody two shoes? There, you could also get married and have a house and have a child and do all this kind of stuff. And it did deliver on a lot of stuff. There were some things that it didn't deliver on. However, for the most part, when it released, it was a fantastic game. And playing it again now, obviously with the Fable anniversary on PC, it's still a joy to play. The music is incredibly nostalgic for me, and it has a very Fable-esque soundtrack, sounding like fantasy, which is obviously what you want in a fantasy game. And the game has a lot of charm still, but Fable was a big deal. It was a huge deal for Xbox players back in the early 2000s, and I still remember because I had a friend who would talk a lot of bullshit, and he claimed that he'd got Fable early, and obviously before social media and whatnot, I went and knocked on his door, and then he walked down the hallway, went into his living room, and stood out of his living room holding a box which looked like the Fable box for the Xbox. And I said, okay, bring it here then, let me see. And he wouldn't. He was very shifty about it, and then he was kind of like, yeah, I'm going to play this. You haven't got it. I'm going to play it. And it turned out that he didn't have the game. What he had was it was like a promotional DVD that he bought from, old Brits will remember this one, he got it from Woolworths, which was actually where I bought my copy of Fable from. And Woolworths, of course, I think it's just an online store now, but that was one of the go-to places for video games in small towns, which was where I grew up. And it was a promotional DVD, basically, just showing the makings of and what was going to happen and all that kind of stuff. One of the first games I do remember there being a promotional DVD for, but that's what he had. So he was talking a bit of bullshit. However, we were used to it, so we didn't really care. But then when I finally got my hands on Fable, I absolutely hammered the game. Of course, I left school in 2004, and I had a bit of time. I think I had 6 weeks off or 7 weeks off before I went straight into employment. I didn't go to college. I've been working since I was 16. I'm now 35. And I just remember putting a lot of time into it. But also at the same time, because I did put a lot of time into it, it must have been, 25, 30 hours maybe. And I did everything there was to do in the game. And I was a little disappointed that it was quite short. But then looking back on it, I think that's an adequate amount of time to spend on it. Back then I had nothing but time, now I have children and a full-time job, so it's a lot different. But when you're listening to the music, which was composed by Danny Elfman and Russell Shaw, which is an amazing combo, and it's still worth playing today. There's still a lot of stuff to do in it, and that goes with Fable 2 and Fable 3 as well, and hopefully they will release the newest Fable soon, the reboot Fable. I mean, please do. But Fable 2, each of the 3 Fable games, they add something different. The first Fable, of course, was just the introduction to the series, and then the second game you get the dog, which the dog can help you find items and all sorts. And in the third game, you become king and have to manage a kingdom, which is pretty cool. You can't get 2 and 3 on PC anymore due to some weird licensing bullcrap. However, you can still get them on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S. You can get them because they're backwards compatible and downloadable from the store. And they're on the Game Pass as well, so you can play them on there, which, again, that's another plus for that one. But Fable is still worth playing today. It's still a lot of fun. I always play as a good guy. I never play as a bad guy. I can't do it in any game. I have too much of a moral conscience. I can't be a dick on anything. basically. But let me know in the comments down below if you were there when Fable was launched and if it was a big deal to you, or if this is a game that you have played and maybe you didn't like it, and if that's the case, then that's cool too. But thank you very much for watching.
Justice! It's killing time! Death to